Good morning. Welcome to the city's Board of Adjustments. It is July 20th in year 2023. And first thing we're going to do is I'm going to call the meeting to order, which I just did, and then I'm going to do the roll call. And as I call your name, please answer. I'm here. Tony Teeters, Vice Chair.
Here.
Tom Davis.
Here.
Mary Fredrickson.
Here.
Miriam Haubrick.
Here.
Mark Hoeknes. James Myers. We have a quorum, so we can do official business. First thing on the agenda today is to approve the minutes from the last board meeting. Did everybody here get an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Tom Davis here. There was an error on the minutes. I don't know if that got clarified, but it marks me absent. And if you read down a little further, you will see that was there. So with that.
That was fixed.
That was fixed. Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Hey, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Second item on the agenda today is a public hearing and possible action regarding V23-003, and it's a variance. So which one of our city staff is going to present the variance?
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Tammy DeWitt, Community Planner, will be presenting these today.
Thank you, Tammy.
Sure. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So the request before you today for first is a variance to Article 3, Section 343F, Single Family SF18 of the Land Development Code to allow for a reduction in the required 25 front setback by 10 feet to allow for a 15-foot front setback for a new single-family residence on a 0.98 acre parcel. The subject property is located off of Rockwood Drive. It is considered a flag lot. So with flag lots, the flag doesn't count towards the setback. So we have to go to where it expands to where it meets the front width requirement. And for this zoning district for SF18, it's 100 feet. So we would move. Well, this doesn't help you there. So we would move past to the flag portion of it to where it winds up, and that's where we consider the front. So that the northern property line or northwest property line is kind of what's considered the front. So here's the imagery that kind of shows that is being developed right now. It's a new subdivision. They just came in and replatted some of the lots to kind of configure them to where it meets actually the terrain. There's a lot of rock outcroppings and slope in this area. So a lot of the parcels here you haven't seen before to reduce the setbacks because they usually qualify for a topographic exception, which we can reduce the front setback by 10 feet automatically. This property didn't qualify for that because it doesn't have the slope. So here's a close-up to kind of show the property. And unfortunately, I don't have a pointer or anything to use. But you can kind of see where the building pad is. And with all these parcels, you're going to see that they all have kind of already building pads already defined on the properties. So when they replatted the lots to reconfigure the property lines, they took these pads in consideration in regards to where houses could be built. And as you can see with this one, it's kind of up more towards the front because it kind of does slope down and the rock outcroppings on the back of the property. So, and for this request, we did send it out to all the surrounding property owners within 300 feet, and we did not get any comments from any of the neighbors. So what's circled there is the front setback that's being asked to be reduced. So the little house layout is laid to kind of be able to have access from the flag portion to the garages and have your front entry. They do have kind of a attached mother-in-law suite, which is where this area is. So they can have the garage and have ADA access to their mother-in-law suite, therefore their elderly parent moving into the house. So that's the area in question that we're asking for the reduction in. So here's the area of the building pads. Like I said, they've already been kind of developed on these lots. And then the lots were reconfigured to kind of accommodate for these pads. But this kind of shows you where it is in relation to the adjacent property. There is a house already being built on the adjacent lot. We did not hear from anybody with concerns in regards to this request from that property owner. And this kind of shows you the other property to the south. It's a little bit higher up. This one's a little bit lower down in elevation to the other, so it's not blocking anybody's view or anything up here. There is some pretty nice views up here from these lots. This one's kind of set down, so it's not going to block anybody's view. In regards to variances, these are things that we take into consideration. It's not a special privilege. It's not a self-induced hardship. There is terrain issues on the lots, which the developer has tried to accommodate with the platting. But otherwise, it meets all the criteria for a variance. There was no neighborhood comments. It is currently vacant. And there's a recommended action if you choose to approve this request, and I'm free to answer any questions you may have.
Do we have any questions from our board members?
Yes, this is Mary Fredrickson. Tammy, do you know if the house that is immediately to the northwest, closest to where the variance is being sought, is that house occupied yet? Or
No,
is
it's
it-
still being built.
And do you know if the owners are local? Do we know for sure that they have gotten the notice?
If there's a property owner, they were noticed, and so we didn't hear from anybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Mark Oak is here.
Mark, you're going to have to hold down the button on the thing on the microphone.
Welcome, Mark, and let's make sure then the minutes reflect that you did show up.
Yeah, thank you. I went to the wrong location. My apologies to the board. Does the area where this home is being produced have a HOA?
No, they do. Do they? Yeah. Yeah, they do have a HOA, but we didn't. The developers, the HOA.
Okay, so they were they served the notice as well?
Yes, they were.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Are there any more questions from board members?
Mr. Chairman, Tom Davis, Tammy, I looked through the development code about the determination of what a front yard setback is. Flag lots are always kind of goofy, you know, and some communities, my experience, some communities use the end of the panhandle as the front yard. So the city determines that a different type of determination.
Well, that's where we start. So when you come to the end of the flag, that property line that runs along parallel with it, that becomes the front. So in this case, that northwest property line that's circled, that's considered the front now, and it's the rear of the other adjacent property next to it.
Okay.
So that runs parallel with the road. So you have to go to where you meet the width requirement. Within this zoning district, it's 100 feet. So until it breaks out of that flag, that's where it becomes the front. We can measure the front.
Okay, all right.
And that's pretty common in jurisdictions.
Well, I've seen some jurisdictions where they take the end of the panhandle and then draw a line perpendicular to that, and that becomes the front yard. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but I've seen it done differently.
Sure.
Okay? And so I just want to make sure that's kind of the code, or that's the assumption that the way the front yard is being.
When it becomes a legal lot, so the flag doesn't become legal till it meets the width requirements.
The width requirement.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chairman, Mary Fredrickson. Tammy, just to make sure I was clear on what I was hearing, the lot that is immediately to the northwest is higher than this lot that we're considering?
Yeah. So you can see where the pad is, and that house to the left, that it's higher up.
And this house that is to be constructed on our current lot that we're considering is a one-story?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Are there any more questions? Not hearing any, I would entertain a motion.
This is Mary Fredrickson. I move to approve variance V23-003 as submitted.
Second. This is Tom Davis, second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. This variance passes. And we'll move to item B.
Okay, before you, the second item is a request for a conditional use permit. The request is for Land Development Code, sections 4.8 and 9.3. Zoning is business regional. It's a request for a conditional use permit for a new tattoo business. Here's the subject property. It is located just west of the post office off of Miller Valley Road, across from the CVS store. And as I said, the access to the property is one access. There is multiple businesses within these buildings. There's 2 buildings, and there's multiple businesses. And this will take over one of the suites in the building. The access is right past the post office. Like I said, it is zoned business regional, which requires a CUP for any new tattoo parlors. So here's a view of the parking area and the access. And the building, it's that red door there on the left they're going into. Then there's a computer repair business, and then there's another business in the back building in the back. And there's plenty of parking on site for all the businesses. And this kind of shows that he's going to go where the tattoo studio, where that door was. And it's just going to be an office area with a tattoo station with one person. Review criteria for conditional use permits. What we're really looking for is any impact to the adjacent neighbors in regards to noise, lighting, hours of operation. We have not seen any, we've never got any complaints for tattoo parlors in these areas. It is a commercial business. They are pretty quiet. It's not like how they used to be portrayed. So they're a lot more quieter and more business oriented, and they're an office type use. And they're usually most of the time by appointment only. So some other things we look at, it's not in a historic preservation district, so there's no concerns. We did also with this one notice all the property owners within 300 feet, and there were no comments from any adjacent neighbors. So staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit for a tattoo parlor, and that concludes my presentation, and I'm free to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to get used to pushing this button in order to speak, you know. Having listened to your presentation, do I have a motion to close the public hearing? Now, it is a public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public?
Nope.
I hear no comments from the public, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
We don't need to do that for these.
You don't?
No.
Okay. So used to the different boards and commissions, et cetera, that I occupy. We do try and do things, you know, a little differently. So, but we do need a motion to either approve or deny. So I would entertain a motion to either approve or deny the conditional use permit 23-001.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Mark Oakness here. I think the location is fine. The only concern I have is parking. Post office is right next door, and my concern is that they'll have their parking spot pirated by people going to the post office. But is there adequate parking?
Yes, there's no parking issues on this property.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments from the board?
Chairman Mary Frederickson, I'll just move to approve as submitted CUP 23-001.
I'll second.
Motion in a second.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any staff updates?
No, we do have items for next month, so we'll have another meeting next month. Also to let you know that we are having an open house for the general plan and historic preservation master plan updates. They are scheduled for August 30th. It's August 30th at the Rollie Simmons Adult Center. It's a Wednesday from 3 to 6. So hopefully you'll start hearing announcements on the radio and seeing stuff on Facebook and via our social media and to get the word out. So we hope to see you there to get your comments.
Thank you very much. Any more comments from the board? Not hearing any, I'll adjourn the meeting.